everyone. Welcome to the meeting point. I hope that in the difficult time we are living, you and your family are okay and safe, of course. Thank you very much to everyone who is connected from 13 countries until now around the world. Everis is an international company with presence in Latin America and Europe. And each of these countries has a different reality, but we have a common goal to make the society a better place through the technology. And all this, of course, is aligned with the pillar of the everis Foundation is to promote the boosting the talent, innovation, and entrepreneurship. And in this talk today with Isidro, the name of this talk is what we are doing to transform the society, and we will talk about the different entrepreneurship and innovation initiatives that the European Commission is working on to achieve the new challenge which have no precedent in the history. Today we are honored to have Isidro Laso. He is Spanish, Deputy Director of Innovation at European Commission and coordinator of the Hackathon EU, European Union versus Virus, and he has been responsible for the Startup Europe, a fantastic initiative of the European Commission. Thank you very much, Isidro. Welcome to the everis Foundation world, and you have a time. And if you want to say, to give some words to welcome, or if you want to start with the questions.
So thank you very much, Carla. Thank you to the Foundation everis for inviting the European Commission and the European Innovation Council and myself on behalf of the first two to talk to you and to address your high-level audience that I know that you have. And I'll be more than happy to share my thoughts and information about what the European Innovation Council, that for those of you who do not know it, is like the one-stop shop for innovation in Europe that is recently created as a pilot, and that will start officially on 1st of January 2021. We have been doing a pilot with more than 3,000 million euros, but it still is called a pilot. And we will start on 2021 with a budget of 10,000 million euros, and with the intention of ensuring that the innovation is spread all across the 27 member states to ensure excellence and at the same time impact on the societal problems, like what we have demonstrated with the EU versus virus, that is the largest hackathon ever organized in the world and has been done by the European Innovation Council. And this, we are really proud of that. The largest one was also related to coronavirus and was organized by the three big tech companies, so Microsoft, Facebook, and Google, and they got less solutions than we got, so we defeated them. The European Commission defeated the big techs. So we are really proud of that achievement, and that's also the philosophy of what we want to do with the European Innovation Council, not only giving grants and taking equity, but also having an impact on the society at large in relation to innovation.
Okay, well, I have some questions for you. Some of these questions you are giving me some information, but we'll start. How does the Commission, and in particular the European Innovative Council Task Force, support innovative businesses and their scaling up? What is the particular activity you are doing right now?
So we are doing 3 types of activities in the European Innovation Council. It's going to become an executive agency of the European Commission and acting in 3 different levels. The first level is the Pathfinder. So we want to support the innovators who have disruptive ideas and using what sometimes is called future and emerging technologies. This is the first line of action that we want to work. The second line of actions we want to work is to accelerate those deep tech startups who are in Series D and Series A. So in funding rounds between 2 million and 10 million euros. And for these ones, we are going to give grants, non-refundable grant, but also equity, up to 10 million euros equity from the Commission. and the Commission will become a patient investor in the company, so not interfering with the management of the company, but being more and not forcing the entrepreneur to have to exit the companies very soon. That's also some of the problems in the EU. So sometimes the startup doesn't have money for this Series A, and second, the startup sometimes when they get the money from the traditional VC, they are forced or encouraged to sell the company or to exit the company quickly so that the VC can do a good return of investment. This will not happen with this with the European Innovation Council fund, because we will be patient in this sense. And in addition to the Pathfinder and the accelerator, the third line of action is working with innovation ecosystems. It will be part also, it has a different work program, but will be part also of the same Innovation Council Executive Agency. And in this innovation ecosystem, what we want is things like what we have done with the EU versus virus, means connecting ecosystems of innovation across Europe to tackle specific societal problems that we are facing. So it's a lot about connectedness between ecosystems, a lot about the scaling up, helping the startups to scale up in the innovation ecosystems in Europe so that they don't have to go to Silicon Valley or elsewhere. They're also very important, also be able to collect, to gather information about and data about what is happening about the innovation ecosystems in Europe. So to recap, Pathfinder for disruptive technologies, accelerator for deep tech startups, Series A and seed capital, and finally innovation ecosystems connecting and scaling up.
Okay, very interesting and a lot of work, I think.
A lot of work.
A lot of work. What does the European Innovation Council strengthen the European innovation ecosystem and make sure to reach its international dimension and vice versa?
So the key for the success of the EAC will be if we are able to work with the ecosystem in a different way. So instead of working in the traditional way, the way that we normally work with the traditional sectors, top down, talking to the big, the CEOs of the big companies and with the association of SMEs across Europe, instead of doing that, for this particular sector, we need to work bottom up. So we need to work with the ecosystem. We need to work with the people on the ground, the innovators. You know very well from the foundation as well that this type of innovators are not the traditional business owners. They are special type of people who are normally mission-driven, purpose-driven. So they see a problem and they want to solve the problem. That the first question they always ask is, what is the problem we want to solve? And then they go ahead for that. We all know Airbnb was created by a person who was not able to find an accommodation in a city. The same with Uber, that the person who was not able to find a taxi in Paris. So normally there are people who are mission driven to solve a problem. So the key for the success and how the EAC will have an impact on the innovation ecosystems in Europe beyond the money is if we are able to work with all these innovators, influencers, investors, entrepreneurs from the ground. Of course, we will need also to work with the member states, and that's very important. That's what we always do. But the innovation here is to be able to work with ecosystems themselves. As that's how we will be able to strengthen the innovation ecosystems all across Europe. And I put emphasis on the all, not only the big cities, but also rural areas, also countries from the Eastern Europe, like Bulgaria, Romania, etc. So this is the purpose from the beginning is to be pervasive all across Europe and to be more active precisely in those ecosystems who need the Commission more. So there are some ecosystems, like London, for example, is not in the EU now, but it's a good example. They don't need the Commission mainly for almost for nothing. They are well ahead by themselves. However, there are other ecosystems in Europe that certainly need the support of the Commission, and that's where it makes sense that we are active and that we are providing our support.
Okay, and Isidro, the project only needs to become to the European Commission, or for example, the Latin America is possible to make business here, or is impossible, or how is the European Commission works for? It is another question. Sorry.
Yeah,
because
no, okay.
we have a lot of people from Latin America, I think the question is what happened with Latin America? Is it possible to do business here with the European Commission help, or the moment no, only the members of the European Commission?
So the European Innovation Council, the center of gravity is in Europe, but we are open to the world. And there are many initiatives, international cooperation dimension of Horizon Europe. The European Innovation Council is part of a bigger program. European Innovation Council has a budget of 10,000 million euros. It's part of a bigger program called Horizon Europe with a budget of 100,000 million and proposed budget. So that means that there is a bigger thing. And in this bigger thing, there is a specific part called international cooperation, in which countries from companies, entrepreneurs from Latin America are fully eligible and even can receive funding. Not the entrepreneurs who are located in the US or in Japan, for them we don't pay, but if there is an entrepreneur and a company participating from the Latin American countries or from Africa, then they are not only eligible, but they can also receive funds from the Commission. So I encourage them to participate. In the European Innovation Council, the rules are so far for the funding part are different. It's limited to the EU countries plus the associated countries. So it's not the whole developing countries like in the whole Horizon Europe, but certainly there are other activities that are the third pillar of activities of the European Innovation Council, that is the innovation ecosystems. Those are open, and a good example of that is EU versus virus, where there were many participants from Latin America in EU versus virus. EU versus virus is a good example of an innovation ecosystem activity with the center of gravity in Europe, but with participants from many other parts of Europe, from India to Latin America to Northern Africa. So it was a global initiative, but with the center of gravity in Europe. So the innovation ecosystems activities of the European Innovation Council will have a center of gravity in Europe, but will be open also to other meaningful international cooperation activities, missions abroad, etc.
Okay, and what have you learned from the European Union versus virus hackathon lead in April? What is the most things that you learn, and what is the best interesting innovative solution about the COVID right now? Because what was in April in Europe in March, the situation was horrible, I think, in the European generally. And what's your best learned, or the best alternative is stop the COVID?
Yeah. So there were many lessons learned. First, to realize that the European Commission has something more than legislative power or financial power. Has something called convening power, so capacity to bring together people from everywhere across Europe and the world. And this is something unique of the European Union that normally we don't exploit as much as we should. We tend to focus on legislation and on financial support, but this convening power has demonstrated has a strong power in itself. No? So we were able, without any funding from the Commission, because EU versus virus didn't get a single euro from the European Commission, was all done on voluntary basis, that we were able to have a tremendous impact. We had 21,000 participants.
Wow.
We had 2,160 solutions developed by 3,500 teams working simultaneously during 48 hours. As I said, the second one in the world ranking list is this one organized also for coronavirus by the three big tech companies. But we beat them, and we got more solutions than they got, 600 solutions more than they got. So and most importantly, after the hackathon, we did something new, something unique that has never been done in the world, that is called matchathon. So like the hackathon or marathon has the characteristics of this something done in a short period of time, like the hackathon, 48 hours, or a marathon, I don't remember the number of hours. And the matchathon is the same, something in 2 or 3 days. Also, is at the scale is big, like the hackathons or like the marathons. They participate a lot of people, and so we did with the matchathon what a matchmaking between the 120 best proposals received from the hackathon and 458 partners who were willing to provide financial support, mentoring, pilots places to those 120 solutions so that they can work together. They created 2,335 new partnerships between the projects and the partners. And now they are working together with the idea that they turn all these 120 best ideas from the hackathon into actual products and services. So this capacity to bring together so many people, to discover that there was such a huge community of innovators, of partners, companies willing to work in a mission-driven approach, because it was a mission. This was not a project. It was more a mission. We have the mission to save lives. We were not a medical doctor. We were engineers. So we really wanted to save lives and to do. We could, every one of us, we could do a small grain of rice to contribute to solve the problem. So this was also a strong lesson for me to realize that in Europe we have this community of what I call mission-driven innovators. And another good, nice surprise for me with the EU versus virus is to realize that there is a new way of doing policy making, thanks to the new technologies. A new way that allows us to do policy making not only with the lobby groups in Brussels, with the microcosmos in Brussels, where all the big companies, all the association of SMEs are all represented here, but very rarely we go outside and talk to the citizens. So the EU versus virus demonstrated that the Commission can also interact directly with the citizens, and we can get very good solutions to the policy problems, because we are talking here about this is a policy hackathon, it's not a software hackathon. So we were able to demonstrate that it's possible to do that, and there are other commissioners of the European Union who are also interested in exploiting this new mechanism of policy making. For example, the possibility to tackle the rural depopulation through this mechanism, the hackathon, matchathon. So this is for me also a very nice lesson that we have been able to open to invent
Virtual.
a new way of policy making using the new technologies, and ensuring that anyone, if it is in Canary Island, if it is in a remote village in Burgos or in the Azores Islands, they can all contribute the same way like any people living in Madrid or Barcelona.
Wow. Okay, that's really amazing. A lot of projects, a lot of people working, and this is amazing. And the next question: what recommendation would you will give us for entrepreneurs who right now are fighting to launch their project? What is your best recommendation?
So my best recommendation is, as always, for the good entrepreneurs, this is the best moment. It's a moment of difficulties for many people, but it's a wall of new opportunities for the real entrepreneurs. So there are two sectors. I remember 4 years ago, I had a conversation with Tim Draper from Silicon Valley, one of the main investors there. And he said to me at that time, 4 years ago, that the next sector that they were going to be disruptive were education and health. Okay, he said that, he has a lot of reputation, I believe him. This didn't happen. Now, as a consequence of coronavirus, this may happen now. And we need to be aware that education, health expenditure in Europe represents a 9.9% of the GDP. 9.9%, more than automotive, more than agriculture, more than it's huge sector that is now open for the first time to be disrupted by the real entrepreneurs. And the second sector that has been open and that was closed always in Europe for the entrepreneurs was education. Of course, there were small apps for the parents like myself. I had 6 kids, so I have bought a lot of those education apps to help them to do maths, to do reading at home. But they are kids, so they do what we were doing when we were kids as well. So you are trained that they use them. As soon as you are not looking at it, they are already playing with with a we or with something else, no? So now the education can really start to be disruptive. And we are talking that this represents in Europe the 6.6%. So it means that almost 16% of, more than 16, almost 17% of the whole GDP is now open for disruption by the entrepreneurs. Hospitals have, for the first time, started to work with startups. They needed respirators. They could not get the respirators from the big companies. They started now to work with startups. And they realized, yes, they are different. They are, but maybe they are not the best ones in writing papers or proposals, but they are the best ones in delivering innovation in very short term. So we have opened a new area for startups. No, these are the two very good consequences of coronavirus. The third good consequence as well is that there were many startups now in Europe. There was maybe an overpopulation of startups. Many of them were zombie startups. Now the crisis might wipe them out, and we will make clean the ecosystem of startups. Many investors were bombarded by startups that were not really didn't deserve the name of a startup, and was difficult for the investor to be able to identify the good business opportunities. Now this might be useful to help cleaning the startups ecosystem out of the zombie startups. Might be good for those entrepreneurs as well, because they might start something new, taking advantage of the new areas like education and health, and will be also very good for the new ones who will enter into the market, and there will be less population. There will be a higher quality of startups in Europe. So all these are all wonderful opportunities. And of course, the fourth one is what we are doing now. Everything has moved digital. Digital is the playground, is the blood of any startup nowadays, being biotech, being nanotechnologies. They are all using IT. And therefore, this is a wonderful opportunity for everybody who is working remotely, those who are doing fintech. I don't know when was the last time you visit physically your bank, your bank office. So now is the same for the bank, the same for shopping, the same for almost everything. So it's a wonderful opportunity for the new people to try. There is a drawback, of course, is that there is a lack of cash now in the market.
Yeah.
Some startups are struggling with that. But as I said, the good ones will survive. 17% of all the startups in Europe have started to pivot. So it means using the same technologies but doing something else, moving into education, health, or other remote working, remote education, and other business opportunities. So that's also very good news for them. So there's this drawback of lack of cash. 57% of reduction of capital investment in China in January, February. We don't have data yet about Europe in March, April, but we can envision a similar reduction on the number of capital. So that's the only drawback, but everything else is positive for the real entrepreneurs, the real startups. So it's the best moment to start a startup is now. Is the moment of crisis like this is when the big companies have always been created. The S&P 500 Fortune companies, most of them has been created in moments of crisis. So now is the moment also to start getting the next unicorns that maybe after listening to us today, they will start working on that and becoming in 3-4 years the next unicorns. If you are looking at us and you become one of these, don't forget to invite Carla and myself for a beer.
This is the best moment considering your words, but what price do you run in the commission? Because entrepreneurs need money. We have money for our ideas. All the people say, if you have a great idea, you have money. Or some investor, you can stay with some investor. But which price right now are running in the European Commission or in the new Eurozone Europe, isn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we, in the European Innovation Council, the European Innovation Council will be running several prizes, challenges, we are calling them. Okay. So then we will make a call for a challenge, and then we will call for the best solutions to apply, and the one who wins is the one who will get the money. So these are the kind of prizes that we are going to launch in the European Innovation Council. We have been testing the concept already with some one on blockchain and others. This kind of challenge with prices. We have also a prize for the iCapital, the innovation capital of Europe. So all those challenges will continue, and all those prizes will continue. And this will be another way of providing funding. But as I said, we try to avoid the traditional way of subsidizing. Let's say we try to do something different, like the challenges that we are posing a challenge, and the people are applying, and there might be 20 applicants, and only one of them, the winner, is the one who will get the money. But we may have created another 10 or 12 good teams, good projects that might get money from investors, private investors, etc. So with the challenges, you also create ecosystem. It's not only one winner, it's a whole ecosystem. For example, a new battery or a new blockchain for good, for example, a whole group of 10 or 20 new companies, startups will be created. Although only one of them actually gets the money, a whole ecosystem is created also with investors, corporates coming there and putting money there. So the power of the public institutions is not only to give subsidies, it's also always to see how we can multiply the money that we have by attracting and by helping the creation of new ecosystems, of new initiatives that can be of interest for investors or corporates or foundations to pop up what we have doing initially, what we have started. So this is a bit the philosophy with these challenges of the European Innovation Council.
Okay, very good, very interesting, Isidro. We have time, some minutes for questions. Tamara, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, if you can help us, please, to make time for the questions.
Yes, I'm going to share something in the chat. Okay, so everyone can read it. So basically, if you have any question, you can just raise your hand, and you can ask either in English or Spanish. Okay. In the meanwhile, if you want, I can ask you something, Isidro, because it has been very interesting. And I have a question. How do you see the future of the innovations ecosystems in 1 year, and what changes do you predict?
Yeah, well, in the post-COVID world, there is only one thing that we know, this uncertainty. So we all know we should all start by assuming that we don't know what will happen. This is a difficult time for policymakers, because we will need to take decision. Policymakers or need decision making in any company, in the foundation as well. We will have to make decisions in a moment of uncertainty, where there is no data. We don't know yet how much has been the reduction of capital, venture capital investment in the startups in Europe, for example. We had the data of last year, and that was very good data, world record, never nothing like that in Europe. But how things are going to be in June, in July, nobody knows. So there's a huge uncertainty, and in 1 year from now, we don't know that we have been a second wave, a third wave. We don't know the vaccine we already be working on now. So we don't know also the consequences of this crisis. If more power will have been moved from Europe to Asia or not. We don't know how the entrepreneurs in Europe will be getting out of this crisis. It will be getting stronger or weaker. So this is I think it's impossible to predict how the ecosystem. What we cannot be sure is that they will be different, that there will be big changes happening, and the countries or the regions or the cities who do the work now properly. This is the moment also, as we were talking about the entrepreneurs, also the moment for the bold policymakers to have a real impact. And I think the example of Italy, where they are taking they have appointed a former CEO of one of the largest IT companies in the world, Italian one, as the person in charge of the reconstruction, the rebuilding of Italy, and the 102 new measures that they have put. This is a good example of how countries might make a difference. And maybe Italy, that was not so good a few months ago in this area of innovation and entrepreneurship, maybe thanks to this leadership by all these business people in Italy, this may have a positive impact for Italian innovation ecosystems. And there are countries who are already moving in that way with the very bold decisions and very aggressive decisions sometimes. And these are some of the Nordics. But there are others, like I said, like Italy, who are moving very good and very fast. Greece is also doing a good job. Portugal. So there are countries who are already moving in this direction. And how this will be impacting actually the innovation ecosystems is something we don't know, but we will only know that as you said, in 1 year or a couple of years, we will really know the impact of all these new measures that the policymakers and the business people are taking at this moment.
Okay, thank you very much, Isidro. We have another question. Tatiana, if you want, you can just do it either in Spanish or English.
Yes, no, thank you. In English.
Okay.
Thank you, Isidro, for the being here with us today. And I have a question regarding time. So we know that one of the challenges of the Commission is to respond in a timely manner to what is happening now. And my question, in a timely manner, not only in the sense of where or towards what the Commission has to support, let's say, society at this moment, but also to have the tools and instruments in order to respond. So not only the willingness, but also the practical tools, right? So my question is whether you feel positive and about what the Commission is at the moment thinking, and the instruments, again, the grants that you're seeing, the prices, etc., that this will be enough in order to respond again in a timely manner to the crisis that we are living in.
A very good question, Tatiana. I think this is with the European Commission. This is my personal opinion. We started a bit slow in responding to coronavirus. When this was happening already in Italy, we were thinking that, well, this was something limited to Italy, and we didn't realize that was coming to all of us. But I have to say that since mid-March, at least, or earlier, but certainly mid-March, there was a big change of mentality in the European Commission officers, and we realized that these were not times as usual. The hackathon and matchathon that we were talking before, the decision was taken in less than 24 hours. Normally, these decisions, be aware that we have to, it's the European Parliament, it's the Council, it's many, we normally would take at least between 6 months and 1 year to organize an initiative of this thing, the largest hackathon ever organized in the world. The decision was taken in 24 hours. Maria Gabriel, the commissioner, the Director General, Jerry Paquet, immediately agreed to do on that, and we started to move forward and working in a different way, working with ecosystem builders. We implemented this EU versus virus hackathon in less than 4 weeks, and the matchathon in another 4 weeks. So then we were also able to mobilize money for the COVID solutions that were submitted to the official call for proposals of the European Innovation Council. So we were able to do things in ways that had never been able in the European Commission, because we have our procedures and we have our times that we need to respect. But in this case, I think it was a very nice surprise for me as Commission officers. I felt proud of being a Commission officer, because I saw how the hierarchy reacted in a very timely manner. We were agile like no one in the world, to be able to rechannel money to twist a little bit the regulation, still fully complying with that, but to interpret in a flexible way, so we were able to react timely to the challenges. No? So I have hope that the European Commission will be able to continue in this way, because the European Commission is very big and a small part of that. The European Innovation Council is a small part of that. But if we have been able to do that in the European Innovation Council with the support of Maria Gabriel and the Commissioner and the Director General, Henri Paquet, I have hopes that other parts of the Commission will also be able to react timely and in an agile way to the challenges that are being posed nowadays in Europe. Respecting procedure, respecting all the channels that needs to be done, but in an agile and timely manner, because this is not a moment to have a new regulation to be discussed now and entering into force in 3-4 years, because that's normally the time of the regulations in the EU. It's not the time for that. If we need a problem and we have a solution, we need to be able to develop the solution and implement that very quickly. And I have to say that the member states, the 27 member states, In the case of EU versus virus, they also reacted very quickly. 17 of them, including the Ministry of Spain, Pedro Duque, they sent a video of support to the EU versus virus, and they mobilized all the people in their countries towards this common challenge. So I hope, and the members of the European Parliament were also extremely supportive of the initiative. So I hope that we were able to move all the different decision makers, member states, Parliament, with us in an agile and timely manner for the EU versus virus. I hope we will be able to do the same for other emergencies that might happen from now in the last 1 year or 2 years, that there might be new emergencies. Now tourism, for example, is a big thing now, a big problem in Europe. And I am aware that the cabinet of Thierry Breton is looking on ways, maybe doing a hackathon or doing something like that to mobilize the whole society, members of parliaments, member states, innovators, everybody, to find solutions to the different problems that we are encountering. Now it's tourism, tomorrow will be another thing. We need to work in this timely and agile manner, as you said, Tatiana.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Isidro. I think also Carla has a question, so
Yes.
if you want to do it.
Another question, Isidro, and in this time of pandemic or extreme cases in the history of humanity, the people are more innovative, or the people always is innovative in general, or we have more case for go to innovative. I don't know if I can explain.
Yeah, well, yeah, you have understood. Yeah, normally, this is a say, no? That normally in moments of difficulties is where the people are normally more innovative, no? I don't know yet, that we don't have yet the figures to in this particular case. The anecdotal evidence that they can say from the EU versus virus is this, that there has never been a hackathon of this size, never, for no other emergency, no Green Deal, no climate change, nothing has been able to mobilize the people like this crisis. It's true that the coronavirus is the worst tragedy of our generation, certainly mine, 52 years old, and it has never, and hopefully will never happen anything like that in my life and in your life. So this has been really able to mobilize the people, and I have been very happily surprised to see that there is a huge community of mission-driven innovators in Europe who have been able to create, working in 3,500 teams, 2,100 solutions. So there's a huge amount of solutions that like never before, or the 2,335 new partnerships created between big companies and universities with the innovative companies. This is also a very, very nice surprise that is not only people innovative, they are in moments of crisis and tragedy like this, people are really willing to work together, being selfless, not looking at only the short-term benefits, but looking more to the medium-term and longer-term benefits.
Isidro, thank you very much. More questions?
If you want, I also have another one, Isidro, because I don't know how fast are these ecosystems, these innovation ecosystems that you talk about. Is because maybe the entrepreneurs that started with an idea in April's hackathon, maybe that idea no longer works.
This is a comment or is a question?
It's a question. It's because I mean this situation changed very quick, so maybe there are some people that started with an idea in April's hackathon, and maybe this idea is not longer available. Or
yeah, but this is a nice question that gives me also the opportunity to talk about the difference between an SME and a startup. When I was young, 20 years ago or more, I created two innovative SMEs. So I was using sensors and actuators at that time, 20 years ago, in the greenhouses in southern Spain, in El Ejido, in Almería. And then at that time, of course, I created the SME, and as I was not getting as much money as I wanted, I closed it. This is what normally the SMEs do. You try something, it doesn't work, you close it. The startups are different. They have this concept called pivoting, that didn't exist in my times. Otherwise, maybe I would not be here in the commission and you'll be still an entrepreneur, in which you use the part of your solution that this is still good. In my case, the solution was the software, was very good, automated solution. We were able to analyze in real time the mineral composition of the water entering into the greenhouse, and depending on the plants that were in the greenhouse, it was carrots or whatever, we were taking in real time nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, or microelements, putting into the water and sending it to the plant. The software was good. The business model was different, was bad, because I was going myself into all the greenhouses, so it was not scalable. Nowadays, and that's what maybe some of the solutions that were proposed in April will do now, they will pivot. I should have pivoted. I should have kept the software, and I should have changed my business model. Instead of going myself to all the greenhouses, having done a kind of agreement with the engineers who are already in El Ejido, so that they were doing the projects themselves in the greenhouses, and you'll be getting only a 20 or 10% of the whole project. That would have been scalable, and maybe nowadays I will not be here. So with these projects from the EU versus Various, as you said, maybe the initial problem that they were tackling is not a problem any longer. And then the good starters, if it is a starter and it's not an SME owner, it's a starter and entrepreneur, what this person will do, he or she will pivot. We'll use the part that is still is relevant and is useful, and we'll apply that to something else. And I said already, 17% of the existing, not the new, the existing startups are already pivoting to take advantage of health and education. So this has happened by the startups who have been in the market for several years. I am sure that the startups that were created a few months ago will be now in the process of pivoting if they need to. So that's not I don't think for a real estate entrepreneur, that's not an issue. The problem is not a problem, let's say, as such any longer. He or she will be able to pivot the company and moving into a territory where there is a problem to solve.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tamara.
Isidro, yo creo que no hay más preguntas. I think it's not more question for you. Your explanation was very clear. We have an everis and everis foundation, a lot of entrepreneurs, and waiting for the best time for launch their project in the world for create a better society. Isidro, thank you very much. Muchas gracias por tu tiempo. Espero verte en Madrid, aunque sea con mascarilla. Y see you in the next time. Thank you very much for your time, for being here today in this hour of meeting. No more questions, Tamara, or no more?
No,
okay.
No more questions.
So thank you, Carla and Tamara, for the invitation to the European Commission and to myself to be here with you. It has been a pleasure and an honor sharing with you with the foundation. I hope we will work together, the foundation and the European Innovation Council.
Of course.
We want that the foundations are part also of the innovation ecosystem. We know that sometimes you are struggling to find the right business opportunity, the right entrepreneur to support. So that's something where we can support, help you, because we, for example, for the COVID call, we got more than 2,000 applicants that were asking for money. We were able to cover only a few of them. So maybe working with foundations, we may be able to cover other of those ones, or even you might decide to co-fund with us some of those projects. And this is not only for that, it's for Green Deal. There are things also related to women. So there are many areas where we look forward to work together with foundations like you. We work very much with Melinda Gates Foundation, and we want to expand that collaboration with other foundations so that we can, in particular in solving societal problems, maybe not so much those projects who are related to technology, but those who are related to addressing societal problems. I hope we will be able to work together, the foundation and the European Innovation Council.
Thank you very much, Isidro. Thank you very much. I will call you as soon as possible to make some real project. Gracias, Tamara. Thank you very much, and see you soon. Okay.
Thank
bye
you.
bye.
Gracias.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.